Now we have Dr. Peter Adamu, an economist and a financial expert who joins us via Zoom to discuss more on this topic. Thank you so much for being a part of the news at this time.
Good evening, and thank you for having me.
All right, so the Central Bank of Nigeria has announced a major revision to its automated teller machine ATM transaction fees, effectively eliminating the free monthly withdrawals previously granted to customers using other banks' ATMs. As an economist, what will be your immediate reaction?
All right, thank you very much for this question. Nigerians will always react each time there's government policy, especially policies that will, make them to pay more for whatever they want to consume. This policy actually is coming with mixed reaction because, for instance, poor people basically they deal with cash. They do their activities using cash, while those that are rich basically they use online transactions. They use their ATM. They use barcode and similar transactions method to make payments. So this policy will actually hurt the poor, especially people that are struggling to survive from hand to mouth, people that depend on agricultural products that go to local markets where they do not have POS or ATM machines or whatever machines to do the transactions. So people that are maybe earning 70,000 naira, they will actually have to complain naturally, because if you remove charges from 70,000 naira, it means that they are going to end up having 69,500 as their income at the end of the day. So naturally, they will complain, because that has a way to explain that whatever they want to consume, they have to pay more to consume their products. So in a way, it will marginally increase inflation for the poor. And again, it means that this policy will make people to crowd the ATM of their banks. For instance, if I'm banking with First Bank, because I know I don't have to pay the 100 naira for 20,000 naira withdrawal, I have to go and queue. Long queues will now resurface to ATM, because people will prefer to go to their mother banks to withdraw rather than withdraw in sister banks. So that in a way will take away man hour. People will leave their place of work to go and queue to get money, and that will affect productivity in a way. So it's a policy that will promote efficiency, especially in terms of maintaining the ATMs for the banks. Because if you go with an ATM of First Bank to withdraw money in Union Bank, it means that maintaining the ATM is the responsibility of the bank that you're withdrawing from, and your bank actually will not have to do that. So in a way, banks will have the charges, the surcharge that they are going to charge individuals. They use it to maintain their ATMs. But by and large, poor people will be affected by these policies, because it will have a way to reduce their purchasing power.
Do you share the same opinion with the CBN, attributing the changes to a rise in operational cost and the need to improve ATM efficiency across the country, as customers would have to pay more?
Yeah, actually, if you look at it from the point of view of efficiency, you would say that the CBN is now considering the banks also, because bank operations these days is increased. The cost of operating bank activities is increasing, and if you continue to bring up policies that will actually not assist the banks to continue operations, you tend to have epileptic services. We saw that actually in some banks where you go to the ATMs, they're not functioning because of problems like that. So in December, the CBN had to force so many of the banks to make sure they have cash in their ATMs. But that in a way actually did not go well for the banks, because anything that has to do with maintenance was actually being borne by them. So this in a way will support the banks and give them some level of respite in terms of maintaining their ATMs and ensuring better service delivery to the people. But in terms of the users of the ATMs, they always complain. But as far as the banks are concerned, the CBN actually have given them a leverage. so I can get more money to maintain the ATM machines and promote efficiency generally in terms of dispensing cash in ATM machines across the country.
This moves align with the CBN's broader strategy to promote digital banking and reduce dependence on cash transactions, a recurring theme in recent financial sector reforms.
Ultimately, I think this is geared towards promoting digital banking. The CBN want to spend less money printing cash, so they are trying to see how more people key into online banking, digital banking, or whatever banking that don't have to do with cash. So because printing cash also is very expensive, so CBN is bringing up policies so that encourage people. But the problem is the CBN actually have not come up with policies to assist rural bankers, because so many of the people living in communities and rural areas, they are not included in the banking sector, especially now that people depend so much on cash. So the CBN also, aside bringing this policy to encourage online banking, they must go back to the original plan of ensuring that people that live in rural areas, they are also included into the banking activities, or else this policy actually will suffer a major setback, and the people that will connect online banking are the usual people. But there are transactions going on in earnest in communities. We have local markets, scattered everywhere in the country. So the CBN must come up with policies to encourage those category of people to also embrace online banking, so that printing of cash will reduce over time. But if CBN continue to bring up policies without considering rural dwellers, I think the policies will actually not achieve the desired goal. Rather, we continue to go back and front in these policies. But they must come up with deliberate policies to encourage rural dwellers to key into whatever policy that they are doing for the benefit, for the betterment of the economy.
Thank you so much for being a part of the news at this time. We really appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me as always.
And that was Dr. Peter Adamu, an economist and a financial expert.